Binge the full week of The Ray Taylor Show ad-free over at inspireddisorder.com/plus.
This is The Ray Taylor Show.
Swipe up, episode 201. This is the show where I talk about things that are going on in the world, current events, my opinions, things of that nature. And if you're not happy with my opinion, I recommend and invite you to not tell me about it. Just stop listening. If you can't handle my opinions, I would recommend stop listening to them. That is it. I'm not going to stop if you cry in my comments. But let's get it started, shall we? With this first article, far-right extremists are threatening to quote-unquote execute doctors at a children's hospital. Now, there are a lot of reasons why, a lot of times, a lot of recent things happening in the world where right-wing extremists would be threatening doctors. I mean, we did just kind of come out of a global pandemic where a lot of people didn't believe that that was even real. I mean, it's still technically going on. There's still pretty much the same amount of people dying from COVID as there was during the peak of COVID. But, doctors, among other professions, have been threatened by people who don't believe in science or reality. And this one not being related to COVID, this being related to trans people thinking because of false news, that is fake news, that is being perpetuated by right-wing media that isn't true, that they think they're forcing kids to get sex changes. Let me read this. A Boston Children's Hospital said on Tuesday that its staff has faced a flood of violent threats and harassment sparked by a false claim made by the viral Libs of TikTok Twitter account. The account, run by Brooklyn real estate agent Chaya Rachin, tweeted on August 11th that, quote-unquote, Boston Children's Hospital is now offering gender-affirming hysterectomies for young girls. The claim was widely debunked by fact-checking groups, but as is typical in anti-trans rhetoric, facts rarely matter, and the claims were shared widely on right-wing social media accounts. As a result, the hospital and its staff have faced a torrent of abuse. Quote, in response to commentary last week critical of our gender multi-speciality service program, Boston Children's Hospital has been the target of a large volume of hostile internet activity, phone calls, and harassing emails, including threats of violence towards our clinic staff, end quote. The hospital said in a statement posted on Twitter. Some people don't even believe that they are, which is crazy. Like if you don't live in the world, like even if you're not one of the fragile right-wing people who feel the need to attack somebody because they believe in propaganda that they're fed. Like, even if you're not on that side that actually believes the propaganda, to think that there aren't people on the right that are violent or have violence in mind or perpetuate violence because of these things. I mean, how many domestic terrorist attacks have there been that were perpetuated by right-wing media, right? Recently, the FBI attack by the Trump supporter because they were defending the honor of their Lord and Savior Donald Trump. It's like, how are you, like, what reality are you in to not even, I mean, I guess they just believe that's Antifa, like they do in every situation. Oh, that can't be us. It must be this other group of people who would be attacking this situation to make it seem like it's us. it's wacky, right? Like blaming January 6th on Antifa. Meanwhile, they don't want to investigate January 6th at all. Like, we think it's Antifa, and there shouldn't be any investigation into who it actually was. I don't know. It's insane. It's insane the realities that these people exist in when it comes to things and how violent they are. Right? Like, if you think there's, like, yes, there's child abuse happening, but, like, what are the organizations that are historically known for abusing children and have been caught and have apologized publicly for what they've done? The Catholic Church. Now, they're not doing hysterectomies. I mean, they might be. They might be. But they've definitely sexually assaulted a lot of kids and have apologized for their abuse to kids. Like, it is historically known, and they have come forward apologizing for what they've done. But for whatever reason, they're not the target of these people that supposedly want to protect kids from pedophiles. They would rather blame teachers than priests, even though the priests are the ones that are constantly being caught and charged for doing these things. It's just insane. Like, they act like they want to do good in the world, but at no point take actions to actually do good. Like, they just want to use their mission to do good as an excuse to attack a group that is involved with some kind of marginalized community. And it's just disgusting to see. It is just disgusting to see the same type of fascist playbook play out in 2022 that the Nazis did back during World War II. You know, you see these clips of the KKK and white supremacist speakers from like the 70s and 80s speaking, and they match up perfectly, word for word, what's being pushed and pumped out into right-wing media with Fox News and all of the right-wing politicians. They're saying all of the same things. They're saying all of the same things. It's the same exact Christo-fascist propaganda. White supremacist propaganda. It's just they rebranded it so they can convince people of color to go along with it as well. Right? They just changed little things, but it's all the same. It's all the same. It's disgusting. Anyway, yeah. Ridiculous. Here's some good news. I want to take a quick break from the show to let you all know that there is official merch for the Ray Taylor Show. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com. You can get t-shirts, different artwork available, different designs, all on high quality materials in all the sizes. There's also iPhone cases made of biodegradable material. That's right. This is not bad for the environment. This is good for the environment. So all of those designs that are available on t-shirts are also available on phone cases. Designed by me, sold by me. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com to support the Ray Taylor Show and promote it out in the world, so all of the people in your life can see that you are a fan of the Ray Taylor Show. Now, let's get back to that very show right now. Let's move on to some good news. Viral TikToker Nathan Apodaca makes acting debut on Hulu show. So the guy who, during the beginning of the pandemic, I think, was riding his skateboard while drinking ocean spray, cranberry juice, listening to Fleetwood Mac, right? Viral thing. He got a lot of attention for that. Apparently, he has a role on the newest season of Reservation Dogs, which I absolutely love the show. I've been waiting to watch season 2 for all of the episodes to come out so I can just binge watch it. That's how I prefer to watch TV shows. Watching it week by week, I'm not a big fan of doing. I prefer to just, because I watch so many things, I constantly need to be refreshed on what's happening. So I think soon that season will be coming to an end. So I'll rewatch season 1 of Reservation Dogs and watch through season 2. But it's awesome that he has a role in the show. Let me read the article, see if there's any other details. Viral TikToker Nathan Apodaca, I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, who gained instant fame in 2020 for uploading a video of himself skateboarding on the highway while drinking ocean spray juice and lip synced to Fleetwood Mac's "Dreams," is now a legit actor as well. Apodaca made his acting debut on the acclaimed Hulu series Reservation Dogs, playing the character Uncle Charlie. Since uploading his original viral video, the 39-year-old, wow, 39. I thought he was older. 39-year-old has gained millions of views and followers on TikTok page at 420 Dogface 208. He's also received a Nissan truck filled with ocean spray. Cranberry juice from the beverage company itself appeared in a commercial with Snoop Dogg and virtually attended President Joe Biden's 2021 inauguration parade. That's cool. According to his IMDb page, Apodaca's stint on Reservation Dogs will last at least 2 episodes. The Peabody Award-winning and Golden Globe-nominated show is a comedy drama that follows the coming of age of 4 indigenous teenagers growing up in rural Oklahoma. That's awesome. I absolutely loved Reservation Dogs. I talked about it. I did a review of it whenever season 1 ended like a year or 2 ago. Super excited to see what happens in season 2. I love all the kids, all the actors. It's a great story. I'm glad that it's a show that's garnered success. And it's a show, I think it was started by, what's his face? I'm not going to look it up now. But the guy that did In the Shadows, the vampire comedy thing. The guy that directed the newest Thor movie. Anyway, awesome news. Good for him. I'm glad that he was able to do some, go farther than just what the meme, the viral video was. You know, actually, hopefully start a career. It's good. Good for him. Let's move on to some more news, some more entertainment news, right? Some good news. The Saw franchise, which probably about a year ago, I watched all of the Saw movies, the entire franchise. I did a my top 5 Saw movies. So if you want to go back and check that out, please do. A franchise of movies that really did a lot to interweave a very meta type of story throughout and got kind of confusing. The most recent movie was took a different take on the Saw franchise and made it feel more like Seven in a lot of ways. It was starring Chris Rock, was kind of the lead of the newest Saw movie. I think it was called Spiral, came out during the pandemic, and it did well. It did well. It was okay. It wasn't my favorite Saw movie, but I liked what they tried and did. I liked that they kind of went away from it being as gritty as the majority of Saw films, cleaned it up a little bit more, made it feel kind of like Seven, even though Seven is a pretty gritty movie itself, but it became more about the detectives versus the people who were being trapped in the Saw game. But yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with it. Lionsgate and Twisted Pictures are going into production on another Saw movie, which will hit theaters in October 27th, 2023. Kevin Greertart, who directed Saw 6 and Saw the Final Chapter and edited Saw 1 through 5, Jigsaw, will helm the latest installment, which will bring the number of pictures in the franchise up to 10. The last one to be released was the Saw reboot Spiral. I don't like the way this is written at all. Spiral, starring Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. I forgot Samuel L. Jackson was in it. Like, that movie could have been a lot better. It wasn't horrible. I mean, we're talking about the Saw franchise. Not a big bar, not a high bar. But for those two actors, especially Samuel L. Jackson, would have liked a bit more. But it was still interesting. I liked what they were trying to do. I liked that attempt more than anything. But that movie, which was released during the pandemic and made over $41 million worldwide. The plot is under wraps with a new film, the Saw movie. The Saw movies, in general, all of the movies, have grossed over $1 billion. That's crazy. But it is iconic. I mean, I think the first Saw movie is probably the best because it's the simplest. All the other movies really try and get into weaving this intricate type of backstory to everything, which ends up getting really confusing the more you go into the franchise. A franchise that's pretty much just torture porn, but it's really interesting what they tried to do. They tried to make what is essentially a torture porn horror movie into a very cerebral kind of a thing, and the balance wasn't struck. I don't believe. I think it was a bit imbalanced, but I did like what they tried to do with Spiral, and I'll watch. You know, I watched all the other ones. I think I purchased them. You know, got a bundle on iTunes, Apple Movies, and just bought all of them for probably like $40 or whatever it was, 2 years ago when I watched those movies. But I'll watch it for sure, just out of curiosity. But anyway, let's take a little break from the show to promote The Many Faces. That's right, I am also an artist. I do ink paintings on paper of abstract faces. A new face, a new painting gets released every single day over at inspireddisorder.com. So head on over to my website to purchase original artwork directly from the artist. Also, there are prints available for select images. Head on over to inspireddisorder.com, buy original art, buy prints if that's your jam, if you want 8x10 prints on high quality paper. Also, if you're looking to wear some art, there are shirts available with original artwork by myself. Select faces from The Many Faces are also available in t-shirt form. You go to inspireddisorder.com, you buy original artwork, you buy prints, you buy shirts. You're supporting an artist directly. And if you're the type of person that likes to invest in NFTs, there are also NFTs available for select faces. Go to inspireddisorder.com now. And now let's get back to the show. Let's move on to disturbing news. A robot dog with RPG strapped to its back demoed at Russian Arms Fair. Now, we've all seen the Boston Dynamics robots, the humanoid versions of robots doing parkour, and of course the robot dogs. There's been videos of robot dogs with like automatic rifles strapped to their back. So seeing an RPG strapped to the back of a robot dog makes sense. I mean, if they can strap an assault rifle to the back of a robot dog, why not a rocket launcher? It's just, they sell these things to the public as like, we're no longer going to be putting your boys and girls in harm's danger, right? That's how they sold drones into the military. It's like, well, we're not going to have manned pilots bombing people. We're going to have robot-controlled planes bomb people. The problem is we're still bombing people. Just because you're not putting our citizens or soldiers in harm's way to do the bombing doesn't mean that we are ending human life on a massive scale, usually for the reasons of resources. And it's scary. it's scary knowing that we also have a lot of AI stuff going on. It's scary that, a lot of these things could easily be hacked. I mean, everything is hackable. Everything is hackable. So there's really not a whole lot stopping somebody from hacking a robot with an RPG strapped to its back and sending that out into, a metropolitan city. We're going to start seeing robots. I mean, police departments are going to start getting robots. I mean, you want to talk about an industry that has a ton of funding, the police departments, and on top of that, they're having problems recruiting because the police are widely known to murder, maim, disappear, injure innocent citizens on a regular basis. So people don't really want to be associated with basically government-funded terrorists. So I could see them in, the next 10 years start implementing robots into the police budgets, having robots patrolling poor neighborhoods, having robots target people who have a certain complexion, just programming in racism into the robots to attack people of color, attack people that look like they want their targets to look like. So yeah, I don't know. It's there's also the idea that there will be a potential nuclear attack either way with Russia or China. I mean, that's been something that they've been pushing to scare people for generations. And it's back. I don't know how that helps anybody. Life in America sucks. The people, the citizens of this country are primarily treated like livestock. We're paid garbage. Housing and Medicare and groceries and gas. Everything is constantly growing in price, but we're not paid anymore. We're pointed at and judged and told we're lazy for not working 5 jobs in order to barely scrape by a living. It's just it's a shitty time right now, and to have these kinds of weapons of war being strapped to robots that can just be programmed. You don't have to deal with humans, because a lot of times humans, there's humanity. And when humanity is involved, sometimes it's hard to convince humans to kill other humans. But it's easy to program a robot to do it. Way easier to program a robot than it is to program a human. And, programming these things that they are completely expendable. I mean, the government doesn't care if your children die at war. They do not care. They'll care even less that a robot gets killed. Although I guess property is protected more in this country than people are, so they may be, who knows how expendable they are. But it's a bummer. I'm glad I'm getting older, because I don't see a future where it's great. It's like the longer the timeline goes on, the further we get into future, the gap between a dystopian future and a utopian future, it really seems to be leaning one way versus the other. I don't really see much progress towards utopia as much as real strides towards dystopia. Aside from a small group of wealthy people who live a lavish lifestyle free of any kind of laws, really, they have very few worries in life. Aside from that small group of people that are able to live that kind of reality, the rest of us seem to be shooting headlong towards more of a Mad Max type of a reality. And it's just kind of a bummer. It's all of the scariest movies combined into one. It's like zombies with all these viruses that are going on and all of that. We have Mad Max kind of things where, like, it's just like all of the worst movies of like horrific outcomes seem to be combining into a Voltron of our horrible future that is awaiting us. But anyway, with all that said, let's do some shout outs and get out of here. Shout out to Vice News. Shout out Now This News. Shout out Deadline. Shout out Motherboard Vice. But most importantly, shout out to you.
New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on YouTube and everywhere our podcasts are found. Binge the full week over at inspireddisorder.com/plus. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com. And follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Peace out!
Today is the day where you wake up and you realize that everything that you've been dreaming about, everything that you've been wanting, every goal and wish and hope that you've ever had can become real. Dreams can come true. What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.